Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have the amazing Sara Marble with us tonight, Diamond Ambassador. She is somebody, I was just talking to her about how she helped train me when I first started 5 years ago. And she was one of the great resources that I had as I was getting started. And I'm so excited for her to talk to you tonight because an area that she really taught me a lot, she doesn't even realize this, but she taught me a lot through watching her YouTube videos and her trainings and events that she would speak at, all about her tips for staying organized, staying on task, being productive, being efficient, time blocking, all those principles that I preach to my team all the time. She was one of the first people I ever heard that from. And it totally set my Plexus business on a positive trajectory from the very start because I got plugged into the things that she was able to teach me in an indirect way. She had no idea. I was one of her best students and biggest fans since I first started. So I'm excited for her to kind of share a bit with you to start us off tonight and about her tips and stories and learnings and all the things. And then at the tail end of this, we'll have kind of more of a nitty gritty training about all things organization and time management in Plexus. So go ahead, Sara.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for inviting me. I am so excited to be here. For those of you that do not know, I just actually celebrated my 10-year Plexus anniversary. So I've learned a lot failing forward, and it's been one of those things where I'm a busy mom. I was working as a registered nurse. I was doing 12-hour night shifts, and growing my business was one of those things where I was like, juggling all the things, or like the circus performer where you've got plates spinning and you're dropping plates and things are breaking, and it really was a necessity to figure out what's important. What do I need to do? And how am I going to get this all done? So I wanted to kind of just give you I won't say quick. I was going to say quick overview of just some things that have been really helpful for me. And then I know Allie's going to dig in really deep with everything, and that will probably be so helpful. I'm going to stick around, of course, and take lots and lots of notes. But in true Sara Marble fashion, you guys know I can't do any talks without telling you about a favorite book. And so I just have a few quick quotes that I wanted to share with you about from Slight Edge. I don't know if you guys have done that as a book club or if you've read it. If you have not read it, it's one of those that you can read it like 10 times, and every time you read it, you get something different from it. It's got a lot. So I've been reading it slowly for the second or third time this year, and every page is like highlighted and underlined and all of the things. And I think it's really good because if you're thinking time management, priorities, organization, all of those things, you may think to yourself, well, why do I need that? I'm doing okay with life. And I really was one that found that I had a lot of bad habits and I was poorly managing my time, and then the goals that I wanted to accomplish they weren't happening. So I want to start off by saying this quick quote: sow an act, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character and you will reap a destiny. And that might seem like, whoa, okay, hold on. But I want you guys to know that small intentional tasks can turn into habits. And I had a lot of bad habits that were not serving me well. So when I got started on my Plexus journey, I kind of fumbled along. It took me 7 months to find my first 3 people. And that was, signing my mom because she was my best friend, and signing my husband without him knowing. And then signing my third person because it had been 7 months and my upline was like, okay, here you go. I have somebody I'm talking to. Will you please, get that third person? So it was kind of an accidental and slow start. Once things started to, we kind of grasped what this was, this whole we love something, let's share it and tell people. People started joining our team, and I started realizing this is amazing, this is fun. But I had 2 boys at the time, found out I was pregnant with surprise baby number 3, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Like, I'm a procrastinator, things aren't getting done, all of this. I hit Emerald 2 days before I gave birth to my third son, Hudson, and all of a sudden it was like, wow, like, I'm working my business during nap time. I'm trying to figure out, am I going to shower today or am I going to do follow-ups? It was a necessity to say, I have to learn how to prioritize and figure out what are the good habits. Well, even well into my journey, even as an Emerald, I was still spending some time watching Grey's Anatomy and Parenthood and American Idol, I single-handedly voted Kelly Clarkson, the very first American Idol, into where she is today. Yep, dialed in, speed dial over and over and over again. But let me tell you what, that time management piece, those 2 hours in the evenings, that time was not serving me well to help me to accomplish my business goals. And I realized I've got to get a grasp on creating good habits and managing my time well so that I can be productive and successful. But I want to read one more quick thing. The way a behavior turns into a habit is by repeating it over and over and over again until it becomes automatic. The creation of habits is a pure slight edge concept. Simple little actions repeated over time. The compound effect of those habits over time will work either for you or against you, depending on whether they're habits that serve you or habits that don't. Your habits are what is going to propel you up the success curve or down the failure curve. So I had to make a decision and say, am I going to learn good time management habits? Am I going to choose to put my time into things that are going to help me to be successful? Because making a choice to watch American Idol, that was still me choosing. But I felt like I deserved to sit on my couch and watch my DVR shows. Like, I was a busy, tired mom of 3 boys. And I felt like that was time that I was spending well as self-care or letting my brain rest and all of that. And there had to be a shift, which this next quote is where the shift came for me. This is a quote from one of the world's first ever billionaires. The individual who wants to reach the top of a business must appreciate the might of the force of habits and must understand that practices are what create habits. He or she must be quick to break those habits that can break him and hasten to adopt those practices that will become the habits that can help him to achieve the success he desires. So it really was this learning curve for me of what am I doing? Is what I'm doing working? Is what I'm doing helping me move forward? And if it's not, how can I either break that bad habit or implement a new habit that's going to help me on my journey to success? Some really key points that I want to share with you. The first is, are you being proactive with your day or are you being reactive? And I am just going to tell you that the answer to that question could potentially be the very thing that you're like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what my problem is. Let me tell you what this looks like or has looked like for me. Usually, I default to living a reactive life. Okay, so I'm a type 2 on the Enneagram. I'm yellow. My love language is touch and words of affirmation and all of those things. Okay, so as a reactive person by nature, I wake up and I have to check that email that just came because I don't want that person to be mad at me. And then that email, before my foot even gets out of bed, already has my emotional status for, oh my gosh, somebody's upset with me. Oh my gosh, here's a problem that I have to fix. And I'm already starting my day behind. The rest of the day is going to be reacting. So instead of putting my workout clothes before I get my kids ready for school, I'm behind now because I just checked that email. So now I'm starting my day in my pajamas, fussing at my kids, shoving breakfast down their throat so we can get them out the bus and in car line on time. I get home, and instead of getting on my Peloton because I don't have my workout clothes on, I'm still in my jammies, and then I want to address this email that got me on the wrong foot to begin with. And if you see where I'm going with this, then I get a phone call, then this happens, and my entire day becomes a train wreck. And then it's 2:45 and I'm late for car line to pick up my kids, and I have gotten absolutely zero accomplished for the day, right? So when I learned to be proactive and tell my day where it was going to go and what it was going to do, everything shifted for me. And when I stay committed and focused to those habits of not checking my phone until the kids are happily and safely at school, working out before I do business, when I do my business, doing the right key things and growing my business, because As a reactive person, I would get on social media to follow up. And then 2 hours later, I feel like a loser and I've compared myself to everybody in the world. And I get off and once again, time suck, right? Wasted. And I feel terrible. So I want you to ask yourself, where am I now? Am I reacting? And guess what? If you don't respond to the email within an hour, the world still turns. And better yet, if you don't answer right away, people find the answer for themselves. They don't need you anymore, because I created this whole system of enabling everybody to come ask me questions because I always answered immediately. So when I set those boundaries of from 8 to 9, I've got my headphones in and I'm riding my Peloton, people knew. They might ask me a question between 8 and 9 a.m., but they knew I wasn't going to answer them because that was a boundary that I had decided in being proactive with my day. That was going to happen. So that was a huge shift in my business because I just thought I was being a loving, caring person who was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, answering everybody's problems and questions and emails and feeling like I was serving and loving well, but I was not getting anything done. And it was extremely frustrating. So are you being proactive or are you being reactive? And then you have to choose to be intentional. Do the things, choose the habits intentionally. Because if you are intentional about making an effort to create positive, good habits versus, falling, one of my number one bad habits is procrastination. And, so I procrastinate, and then little things are weighing on me and filling up brain space. I've got that shirt that says I have too many tabs open, in my brain, so when I used to say, oh, my personality is just to procrastinate, that's an excuse, right? That's me enabling myself to maintain this system that does not work. So I would just say, oh, I'm a procrastinator, I'll get to it. Well, while I was procrastinating, this weight of things, little things would become big things. And then I'd lose my patience and scream at my kids and be like, what is my problem? And I realized that in procrastinating things, I created little simple habits of, I timed myself. It has never, ever, ever in the history of ever taken me longer than 3 minutes to load the dishwasher. And that's even when there's dirty pots and pans. So if it's a task that takes less than 5 minutes, I try to do it when that task comes up. If that's because guess what? When you've got a whole bunch of 5-minute tasks that you keep procrastinating with, pretty soon, well, I'll give you a very practical and real and vulnerable example. We are getting ready to sell our house and we have owned this house for 16 years. When you have 16 years of 5-minute tasks that shoulda, coulda, woulda gotten done, it will take you and your husband approximately 18 hours a day for 2 weeks straight to get all of those things done. 16 years of procrastinating, and my husband and I are, thank you, Jesus, today we reached a showing on the house and everything was perfect. But over the last 2 weeks, as we're doing all of these things, it's like, well, that doorknob could have gotten fixed, that little nick could have gotten repaired, all of those things. And we just kept putting it off and putting it off. And so I want you to think about, what are those little things that you can be intentional with now and proactively decide, I'm going to get this done. And that has been key for load the dishwasher, do the thing. The weight and pressure of, I need to reach out to all my level ones. I need to send Christmas cards to all of my customers. All of those things. What if you took 5 minutes a day and wrote 2 cards? Right? Now, here I am. I'm going to out myself. I started saying that, okay, Sarah, every year, November 18th, you start to panic. And so on November 1st this year, I'm like, okay, I'm getting it done. Well, I'm going to admit to you, it's December 6th, and I haven't done anything for anyone about the thank you cards. But it sounds great, right? 2 reach outs a day, 2 thank you cards a day, 2 Christmas gifts, whatever the case might be. Take those small little steps, because the slight edge is the compound effect. Small, simple steps repeated daily over time produce massive results. As you can see, I love talking about this, and I could talk for the whole hour, but I know Allie has so much. I'm going to leave you really quick with one thing. If anybody has any questions, that's fine. You can put it in the chat. But this is kind of a summary for why should I listen to what Sarah is telling me? Why am I going to take notes when Allie gives me the details? And this is why I want you guys to hear this. Just like Edison, you are an inventor. Like Nansen, an explorer. Like Emerson, a philosopher. Or like Steve Martin, an entertainer. Or like President Lincoln, a statesman. You are all of these things and more, and the fabric of the tapestry upon which you're assembling your story is made up of tiny threads that few will ever notice as you weave them. You may think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. You are capable of great things. I know this because I've observed the human condition, and every soul alive is capable of great things. Most will never achieve them or experience them, but anyone can if they understand how the process works. He gives this summary of this chapter, and even just this one chapter is mind-blowing about developing and maintaining good habits, because 95% of the people quit. Whether it's a day in, a week in, a month in, a year in, they will quit. Those of us that stick with it and stick to it and keep doing those good habits that seem mundane and that, oh my gosh, I have to do a new reach out, I have to expand my network, all of those things, I'm still here 10 years later. First company, same company, I'm not going anywhere. 10 years later, I just keep applying the principles, and I'm doing the same thing as a diamond that I did as a silver, and any rank in between, it's the same thing. You show up consistently, you show up consistently with a positive outlook. Here's a big one. Be prepared for and committed to the long haul. I will tell you, there's been just as many downs and valleys as there has been ups and mountaintops, okay? It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Cultivate a burning desire backed by faith and belief. Be willing to pay the price. Do all of the things you've committed to doing, even when no one else is watching. And that is the key to success. Because one day, somebody's gonna say, how did Allie get to the top? I mean, it was just like yesterday that she signed up. Like, it just isn't going to work for me. She just flew to the top. Well, look at Cassie and Kyle. They're just like an overnight success. They do not see the day in, day out when you turn off American Idol and you go read a book. When you put down, whatever else it is, and you go do the thing, the 5 and 10 minutes here and there that aren't glamorous, the time blocking and the things that you can do every single day, we have to give ourselves a pat on the back sometimes, because there's not anybody, we're our own CEOs. There's not going to be anybody saying, now, did you do this? There's nobody asking me, did you load the dishwasher? Well, my husband does, but he knows the answer to that. So I want to encourage you guys. You don't have to time block. You don't have to master time management, all of those things. You don't have to. But if you want to be achieving all of your goals, if you're proactive instead of reactive, if you get really intentional about creating positive, wonderful habits, and if you show up consistently in the small things that you're going to block, you will achieve your goals. So that's what I got for you.
So good. Thank you so much. I love how you take the principles that we should be doing in our businesses back to making our lives more efficient, And I mean, I know tonight what I'm going to talk about is a lot of how to run your business more efficiently, but this literally goes into every area of your life. Don't like procrastinating in your life and time blocking in your life and setting aside purposeful, meaningful times to do things and doing things that are relevant and important and prioritized and all of that. And so, I mean, I think one of the main things that I hear ever from anyone is, I don't have time. I don't have enough time. I can't find time for this, or I didn't have time to do that, or I'm not sure if I have time for this. And I love that you're naturally a procrastinator, because I wouldn't say that for myself. However, I get sidetracked on what might be most important. So I'm have like squirrel syndrome, not so much like leaving off full tasks, but you can come from any place and find better time management, find better organization, find better prioritization in your life to be more efficient and all of that. And I know that I've said, I don't know if I have time for this before. When I was first starting, I'm like, how do people fit this in their day? I have no idea. When I started, I only had one little baby, but I was home with no childcare and a husband gone all day at a, hard job. And I was a nap time warrior when I first started. I had my power hour at nap time, and that's all I had because I didn't have anything else. And so I think people wonder how they can have a successful business and still have a fulfilling life and be productive and everything, and have Plexus be a part of that and not get burnt out trying to do all the things. And that's what's important about what we're going to talk about tonight, is because I think we can teeter on the edge of overwhelm and burnout really easily if we don't have clear direction. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. And hopefully I can get this going. You guys see my presentation? There we go. Got it. Oh, let me move all your faces. That's silly. They're off to the side. Oh, of course I can't find my mouse. Okay, just kidding. But I just have a few slides here, but it's good meaty information that I've touched on before. And I was telling Sara earlier, I know that if you're on my team, you might have heard some of this before, but it's always a good refresher. Just like reading those really good personal development books are so good to have a refresher in different spaces and different places in our lives and our businesses. And I think we might have stepped on some toes here by saying, if you're somebody who uses your personality type, or that's just who I am, or that's my Enneagram number, or whatever, to be someone who is disorganized and doesn't prioritize well, or isn't, managing your time well, or, is procrastinating, you've got to put your personal development pants on and change that. Because being stuck in a state of chaos and overwhelm and stress doesn't really do any good for anyone, and it surely does not help your business, and especially not in the long run, let alone your family and their future, right? So just think about that. And the great thing about Plexus is that this is a legacy business that we're going to be doing for the rest of our lives until we choose to retire or will it to our children, or what, it's this huge thing that you're building, and it needs to be something that fits into your life seamlessly and doesn't run you. And I think that sometimes there's a misconception that it might be that way to start, or when people first enter the business, they're like not ready to add something to their life because maybe working the business wasn't really on their radar. Most of us joined for the products, right? And then we kind of found the business. And so to be adding something on is a little overwhelming for people when they aren't sure how to manage their time or what to focus their attention on. So today, I'm going to go over some of my tips for getting more done in less time, so you can just have more success and live your life and not feel like you're strapped to your Plexus business. So newsflash, we're all busy, okay? So I would like to not ever use the word busy or never hear the word busy, because everybody's got their stuff, okay? We all have our things that are stressing us out or are pulling out our attention, and there's always going to be more demands, responsibilities, and opportunities than we physically have time for in our day, in our life. That's just the way that it goes. And we've got to focus on the things that are the most time sensitive, the most impactful, the most important, and really prioritize those things. And if we say to ourselves, I'll get that done when I have time for it, we're never going to have time for it. You need to make a space for it, or your day is really going to run you instead of you running your day, or your entire life for that matter. If you're being, like Sara was saying, very reactive instead of proactive, and giving each time block a name for what it's for. So it's important to make the time for the things that are important in your life and schedule specific time to get Plexus work done. And I think that sometimes when I have like new business builders, they think, how am I going to fit this into my day? Because we all, no matter what space you're in, you think your day's already full, right? And naturally as humans, we fill the time that we are given. If we say we're going to get the house vacuumed today, it's going to take us all dang day to vacuum the house, okay? But if you say I have to vacuum the house before my son goes to school at 8 a.m., you're probably going to get it done before 8 a.m., right? So if you give yourself some deadlines and give yourself some time blocks and really put a name and a label on different times in your day, week, life, whatever, you're much more likely to get it done. And think about us setting aside time to make dinner because we know our family has to eat. We leave the house at a certain time every morning because we want to get our destination on time, right? So you're capable of setting aside time. It's physically possible, no matter what kind of person you are. It's physically possible for you to set time aside to do things, and you can make time for Plexus and also keep the non-Plexus times special just the same, but you don't want to be multitasking. And that's a surefire way to get less done and take more time to do it if you're trying to multitask, because our bodies need energy, emotion, attention, time to switch from one task to another. So you're losing valuable productivity time when you're constantly bouncing from one task to another. So think about that and how you're going to assign your plexus time in your day or week. If it has to be, while your family or your kids are having a snack and you want to shoot out some messages, sure. But I would suggest to not do that, because it's going to be mommy, 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 I need this, I need that. You're not really going to be sending quality messages, and nobody wins there, right? So try to avoid that and find times in your day or week when you could really not have to multitask. And remember that your business is going to grow in proportion to the amount of time that you set aside to achieve your goals. And if your goals are meaningful to you, they're worth your time. So think about what you want to achieve by the end of this year. We have a few weeks left, right? We set goals last month. Where are you at with those? How far do you need to come? Do you need to reset those? Do you need to move timelines, right? Where do you want to be? How about at the end of next year? How about at the end of 5 years? Are you doing things today that are going to set you up for that success? And be realistic. You're not going to be replacing full-time income by working 3 hours a week on Plexus. It's just not going to happen, right? 3 hours a week is not going to pay you like a full-time job is going to. But giving your business the time it deserves to help you achieve the goals that you set for yourself are really going to move the needle in the positive direction. And you may have heard this before, but if you work Plexus like a side hobby, it's going to pay you like one, or maybe not even pay you at all, because side hobbies don't generally make a lot of money, right? It's normally a fun thing we do in our free time. And if you're treating it like this, it's going to pay you like that. But if you're working your Plexus like a business, or better yet, how about a career? Try that on for size, right? It'll earn you some incredible life-changing income. So plan when you're going to work before the week begins and protect that time. You really have to plan out your days well in advance, again, to be proactive and not reactive. But your work time might have to be large 1 or 2 hour chunks on some days, or split into smaller segments on other days. It might be early in the morning, it might be late at night, it might be during work breaks. Whatever that time is, guard it and protect it, because your goals are worth it, your family is worth it, and you really have to take a planner out, take a calendar out and say, okay, I'm working Tuesday and Thursday this week, so these are my work times on those days. And Monday and Wednesday and Friday, I have different schedules. So understand that days are going to be different, and work with your schedule, work with your family, communicate to the people around you, and really make sure that they know when you're working on these things and why. Why is it important to your family? Touch on that why again, right? I have had to have many conversations with my family in different seasons of my business, why things are important. Even tonight, it's a Sunday night and we could be having family dinner right now, but no, mommy's on a call training her team, and we're building our legacy business for our family. And this is something that's important to our future goals, right? So having those conversations often is important. And I encourage you to unplug completely during non-Plexus time, to be present where you need to be. Be present with your family, get off your phone, stop checking messages, stop scrolling, right? You don't need to be. And that's, I think, the boundary that we need to remember to hold, is when we start bleeding our business work time into family time, is when people start to feel that anxiety and tension, right? I think that's a big one. Might not be the same for everybody, but that's a huge one, even just with spouses. You know what I mean? When you're trying to be on date night and you're constantly checking your phone or whatever, right? And granted, if it's like 9 p.m. on end of month, then maybe recheck your date night schedule. Maybe like reassess that one. But you know what I'm saying though? Like, it doesn't even have to be kids to parents. It could be between friends. It could be between spouses, anything like that. You want to be fully present in wherever you need to be present, and not feel like you are glued to your business and that your business is dictating your life and your attention and your focus, right? So just remember that it's appropriate and necessary to have rest time. My team knows that in the mornings when I'm with my kids, getting my kids off to school and all of that, and coming back and getting myself breakfast and just like having a breather, I'm nowhere near my phone or computer at all. I make it back to my computer to start working around 9 or 9:30 a.m. So if you contact me, in the first few hours of the day, I'm not answering. And you know what? When my kids are done with school, about 3:30 through bedtime, I am again checked out. You cannot get a hold of me. And they know that every single day. I have my work hours and I have my business hour or my family hours, and I don't bleed the two. And I'm very intentional about how I use that time. So I encourage you to be that way as well and communicate with your family about that. So you've got your time. Now, what are you doing with it? And now this is where I'm going to get into systems and tips that have worked for me. And if it doesn't work for you, totally fine. But hopefully you find a little nugget of inspiration here, or something you can take back, because I get these questions a lot, because I think I'm very vocal about being organized, being efficient, being productive. And so I get a lot of questions about what I do to maintain that productivity and efficiency and organization in my business. So you need to find a system and stick to it. If you've got a bunch of notes everywhere and a bunch of notebooks and a bunch of random messages all over the place, that isn't doing you any good. And if you like spreadsheets, great, make one. If you like paper planners, great, get one. If you want to use a mobile app, mobile calendars, mobile whatever, do that. If you want to mix of all the things, fine, do it. But whatever it is, make sure it's something that you can keep up and isn't too labor intensive for you to maintain. So if it's hard, takes a lot of time, makes you have to click through 9 things before you get to your final document you need to edit, then maybe it's not the best, most efficient system, right? But you need to commit to something and do it for a few months before you hop to something new that you think is going to be better, because you're going to find yourself constantly in transition and not really finding any stability. Because like we said before, just like with multitasking, if you're saying, oh, this is better, oh no, this is better, oh no, this is better, then you're never really grounding yourself in any sort of system that's going to serve you any well. Same for any kind of tactics in managing your team, or promoting on social media, or running your own house, right? If you keep changing schedules on everybody, it's not going to do any good. Nobody's going to know what's going on, right? So pick a lane and stick to it. Now, I'm going to go through the types of systems that I use, and if it's like follow-up systems and lists that I have and where I keep them and how I organize them. And so it's pretty nitty-gritty, but hopefully you find some pieces that'll help you. So we've got to organize our people. We've got all these different groups, right? You've got your Hot 20, which is, the people that you think you want to try and help get started with Plexus this month. You've got your potentials, anybody you've ever talked to about Plexus before. You've got your new friends and followers, right? People you're just starting to build relationships with. You've got customers and ambassadors, new ones, people just starting their products and they need close attention. You've got seasoned customers and ambassadors who've loved their products for a long time, maybe don't need the same type of accountability that they once did. And you've got business builders, so your team members who are working their business. I'm going to show you how I basically keep everybody straight and how I know exactly who to contact on which days. And you want to avoid having random pieces of paper and notes everywhere where people are going to fall through the cracks and get lost, and stickies. And if this is ringing true for any of you, if you've got sticky notes all over your screen, I see some hands, this will be good for you tonight, okay? Because I'm going to show you kind of how I keep them in line. So everybody has a place. Just like every minute of our day needs to have a place, just like every dollar in your budget should have a place, every person has a place in my business. Now, my Hot 20 list, I make a list at the beginning of every single month. I go back through who's in my potentials, who's my new relationships, who has messaged me, where are we at with people, who do I want to approach this month about Plexus, and I make a Hot 20 list every single month about just my top people to engage with if I haven't yet, or build that relationship with them, reach out to them, make sure they're the first time inviting to events, trial groups, tell about specials. If it's their birthday, sending a birthday sample message, right? So these are the people that are like on the top of my list. My potentials, I keep a giant running list in a virtual note because I can access it on my phone, on my computer, on my iPad, right? I can access it everywhere. So if I need to go look and see if this is somebody I've talked to before, I usually keep little mini notes about what maybe an objection they had, why is it not the right time for them, what they first told me, what concern they had, they came to me about, concerned with Plexus, whatever, maybe even what welcome pack I recommended before. Just like 3 or 4 words that gives me an idea of where our conversation's at, so that if, Black Friday or end of year specials come out, this is the list that I'm accessing, going back through that. Hey, I know it wasn't the right time for you before, but just in case it is, here's what's going on right now. Would you like to chat more about it, right? that is the format of the message that I'm keeping this giant list because I have this big database. And so I keep it somewhere where I can access, and I don't have to flip back through notebooks. I don't have to flip back through planners. I don't have to scroll back in my messages, right? All of that stuff can get lost. And I don't ever have to do that because I have that list ready, right? And then all of these people, friends, customers, ambassadors, I assign them to specific days, which I'll show you. I use a paper planner system, but you could do this virtually if you wanted to engage with them and connect with them. So this is an example planner page of any, I don't know what planner this is. And I'm going to show you how I use it. I've gotten so many messages from people saying, can I take a photo of your planner? Because I'm sure some of you on this call that are laughing, you've done it to me before. We've been at retreats and somebody goes, they're watching me work and they go, can I take a picture of that? Or what's this list right here? Who are these people up here with the stars? What's that? I get all the time. And I've kind of developed the system over time that actually has worked very efficiently for me for the last several years. And so I'm going to walk you through how I use it and exactly where I put everybody. And then we'll talk about why I'm doing that, right? Okay, first, I write a little star next to all of my potentials names. And I follow up with them on a specific day according to when it might be appropriate, right? If it's somebody that was a very first reach out and I'm waiting 3 or 4 days to contact them again, then, you know, I might contact Sally on Monday and that's my first reach out with her. So I'm gonna write Sally's name again on like Thursday and say, you know what, I'm gonna put a little star and write Sally, you know, M. And no, on Thursday, when it gets to Thursday, I have work time, Sally's at the top of my list, right? So I tell all of my people, or tell, you know, my entire potentials list when I'm going to talk to them every single day, forecasted out in the future, right? And this goes for, we have a 3-day trial group coming up, right? I've got people in the 3-day trial group, and guess what? I have their names written in later in the week to make sure they got their trial boxes. I have their name written in on Sunday night because the trial starts on Monday, and things like that. So I have them already written in the future. Next, I have newbies, customers and ambassadors in the first 90 days. These are the people that need the most attention and they need follow-up and they need customer care. That's these people right here. I chat with them every few days. I mean, most of you, if you're on my team, you know that I'm all about customer care, hardcore at minimum first 90 days. We are talking to them every few days. People need that support. They're developing new habits. They're developing new systems. But I digress. Anyway, that category of people is people that I talk to often, but they're already starting their product. So the conversations are different, right? On the bottom, I've got seasoned ambassadors and business builders. So these are people that I need to connect with regularly, but I don't necessarily need to be in close contact with them like I might be with like a newbie or a potential. So as you can see, I'm going top to bottom, and there's a reason why I'm listing these people from top to bottom. It's just not a bunch of random names all over the place on random lists, right? And then on the weekends, so I put an E, and I'll tell you why I do the tally marks, friends to engage with. I actually put an E next to their name, and then the amount of times that I've engaged with them. If there's somebody that isn't really talking to me yet, but I'm like, oh, she's super cute. She's a mom of little kids. She's talking about how tired she is. She can totally use Plexus. I really want to get to know her life and see if this is something that could benefit her. And so I will write their names in on the weekends. I do all my engaging on the weekends because I don't spend a ton of time working on the weekends because that is family time. But the great thing about having a list of names, you can go directly to their profile, engage with their content, whether it's posts or stories or whatever, or send them a message if you feel it's appropriate to do that. And you don't have to navigate Facebook. I'm not scrolling Facebook. I'm not scrolling anything really. I'm not wasting my time scrolling any feeds. I'm literally going directly to their page on the weekends, on those days, and I'm letting myself know how many times I've done that. So, and I know that me personally, if I'm doing this weekly for somebody, you know, after the course of several weeks to a couple of months, I've engaged with them quite a bit. So I probably have a good idea by the time the 6th, 7th, 8th engagement rolls around, this person's becoming really familiar to me. I can tell if they're engaging back. Have they messaged me yet? Have they commented on my story? You know, has anything been reciprocated? Is this a relationship I want to keep pouring into, right? Or you'll start to see that, wow, this person isn't really online at all. They don't relate to me at all. They're a really negative person that I don't really even want on my team, right? So I can just go ahead and cross their name out. So there's those people too. So you kind of start to build those relationships and understand which potentials you want to really bring into your circle and you have a valuable, you know, friendly connection with. So that's where I put those people. Now, on the side here, every single week, we usually have an event, a trial group, something. We've got something going on, and I make those lists, whatever that list is, I make that off to the side, because then on the days of my planner, say you've got, like we have, a 3-day challenge event coming up, I can write a bulk message that says, remind 3-day people, right? And so I got this whole list on the side that the event starts tomorrow or whatever, or remind event people that the event is tonight or whatever. And I've got this whole list on the side, but it's all in one place. So say we have an online event next month, which we probably will, I can go see, oh, these people are already in there. They already attended the one last month, right? So I could see who those people are, or who was in the past 3-day challenge, or whatever the thing is, right? So I'm keeping lists of who's actually attending the events, and then I can kind of write a bulk reminder of when to check in with those people, and I can go refer to that list. And it's not a separate list that's away from all my follow-ups, and it's away from my whole system, and it's like this separate little sticky note somewhere, right? I try to just keep them all in one spot so they're not tracking down other notes anywhere. And then just bonus on the bottom, I track my points, PB, and team ads every single day. This is very helpful going back in previous months on previous days to see kind of where we were at. And I like to keep old planners to go look and see. I mean, it's just a little book. Yeah. So I just keep it, and I can see, oh, where were we, last December 6th or whatever, and kind of see how we've been doing. And then at the very, very bottom, I note special events or training on the bottom of each day that I want to plug into. And that is, you will see why, but it is after I have gone through all of my potential follow-ups, newbie follow-ups, seasoned ambassador, business builder, touch base with them, and follow-ups and all that. I have them at the very bottom. I'll plug into those. And so this is the format that I use my planner. And again, I got another person asking me, that's the second person this week actually, to see a photo of my planner. And it's funny because I have terrible handwriting, horrible chicken scratch handwriting. And not that I'm embarrassed by it, but you really can't tell what I'm doing with the information on my planner if you were to look at it. It's a bunch of names and people's names crossed out that I've already talked to, and a bunch of stars and some circles for, the Sunday night training. I don't want to forget whatever. So it doesn't really mean anything to anybody besides me. So this is like a brilliant way to set it up that really has been functioning really positively for me and working well for me in my business. So there's a method to my madness. There's a reason why I have my planner set up that way. Oops, there we go. A long time ago, I can't remember what book this is from, so if somebody knows, please put it in the chat. But there is kind of a hierarchy to how you want to prioritize what you do during your business time, even your lifetime. Whatever pockets of time that you have, there's a reason why you want to pick and choose which activities you're doing first, second, third, fourth, all that. So, the first thing that you're going to look at is what is urgent and important. Okay. These are the things you're going to do first. When you have your plexus time, your plexus work time, right? When you come across that, you're not scrolling Facebook, you're not checking emails, you're not checking team chats. That's not what you're doing right now, okay? If you have questions or responses from potentials, absolutely answer those. Questions from your newbies, again, those top priority people, absolutely answer those. Those are the people you're getting started with your products, or you're following up with them about hopefully joining you in some way. That is why I have those people at the very top of my planner on every single day. Because the second I sit down to work, I don't open anything else. I open up my planner, and I've got a list from top to bottom of how I need to prioritize the people I need to talk to that day. So that's why those people are first. Then you've got your important, but not really urgent. And this is stuff you can plan for. And this is where your IPAs live, right? So your new contacts, reach outs, engagement, follow-ups, making sure you have a post done, and training and personal development, right? And I give my team a baseline goal of the perfect 10 every day, 3 new contacts, 3 reach outs or engagement, 3 follow-ups with potentials, and 1 type of training, personal development, something like that. In addition to making sure that you have a post up, because that is the storefront of your business. If you're not present, you're not open. So that is kind of where all of those IPAs live, is in the area of being not urgent, but definitely important. And I think sometimes we can feel like they're really urgent, some of those things, if they're on your to-do list for the day, but release that urgency when you have blocked off time to do them. I think that you have anxiety about getting IPAs done because we aren't appropriately managing our time to get the IPAs done, right? So we're thinking, when am I going to do this? Oh my gosh, I got all this stuff to do today. You know, Sarah got her sample today. When am I supposed to follow up with her? I don't know. My kids are crazy. Whatever. It's like, well, if you set aside the time to do that, you know that at 2 p.m. today, while little Johnny's taking a nap, you can follow up with Sarah about her sample, right? Because you've already set that time aside. And this is my huge tip that is a huge exercise in self-control. Do not respond to messages here unless they are from potentials. Now that is hard to do because you're sending messages while people are probably going to start responding to those messages. Keep moving through your IPAs and don't respond to any of them unless it's somebody from the urgent and important category. Okay? Unless it's one of those. Because the people asking you, you know, how to find the live chat on customer service or where the Mega Kids, you know, document is in the back office, they don't really need that right now. And that can absolutely wait. And like Sarah said, they'll probably find it later without you even answering them. And that's where some of this stuff comes. Minimize and delegate. All the stuff that might feel urgent but isn't really important. Like, you know, you've got a level 3 who's trying to find a resource for their potential because they're interested in seeing all the nutrition facts in lean. Sure, like kind of urgent. It's their potential, but maybe not your responsibility right in that moment because there's other levels between you guys, and showing your team members how to find the resources and answers for themselves instead of giving them the information is important. Like we were talking about earlier, it's important to help them grow into independent leaders and not be just spoon-fed all the things, right? So that you don't want to just be enabling them to come to you for everything all the time, or you're going to become a slave to your team. And I made the mistake of doing that in the beginning. And I was at everyone's beck and call constantly. And I finally had to put some boundaries, set my hours, and show people how to find things. I also really got into setting up systems and resources for our team, whether it's pinned, you know, things on the team page, whether it's outside resource groups that we've created or whatever it is, scripts, whatever the thing is. I've created a lot of things for our team that you can plug into. And now Plexus has that stuff like everywhere. You've got all kinds of stuff you can plug into that they can find anywhere, just by searching for it on any of the pages they're a part of, or in the help center, or in the, you know, the resources in our virtual office. There's so many things now that if we just direct people to search in the right vicinity, they're probably going to find what they need. And so setting up those resources is super important. And the last, not urgent, not important, scrolling Facebook, scrolling Instagram, checking out everybody's YouTube videos, and chatting with all your Plexus friends. I know our group chats are like so fun, and it's fun to hear about everybody's Christmas and what are we doing for the Christmas party, and you know, blah, 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 or so-and-so's got this potential and she's having great results and we all want to celebrate. And it's so fun, but like, you don't need to be celebrating her right now. You know, like you can do that later. You can join in that conversation later. And I love all the congratulatory stuff on like the team pages, but I cannot tell you how much it like irks me to see people who are having time management issues on there, like scrolling the entire team page saying, congratulations to like every single person who achieved anything in the last 3 months. I'm like, what? You just told me that you don't have time to like do your reach outs. I don't know. I don't understand. I have time for this and not that. You know what I mean? So try not to get sucked into that and notice when it's happening to you. So that's kind of a challenge for everybody is stop yourself when you're like, hey, I haven't finished all of my IPAs for the day and I'm in, you know, our leaders chat, you know, all up in there. You can absolutely scroll your leaders chat later at the end of the day at night when you just need some like mindless scrolling activity that you would like to do. But avoid it unless you've done everything else first. So that's all I have. But I think when we specifically schedule appropriate time to like complete tasks to move us toward our goals and get organized and know what we're supposed to be doing during certain times, that is when we're going to feel a lot more accomplished. You're going to feel a lot more productive and you're going to achieve your goals more quickly, which is going to build your confidence, right? It's going to really help you feel more capable of achieving your goals. And I love this quote, the bad news is time flies and the good news is you're the pilot. It is so, so, so true. And I know that everybody's got different circumstances in their lives, in their business, in their family. And I totally, totally get that. Sorry, I'm trying to stop sharing my screen. But the thing is, all of us are doing similar tasks every single day. And the people who have been in this business for really any amount of time, you understand, like Sara was saying, it's the simple tasks done day in and day out that are going to compound and allow you to achieve those big time results over time. And these are the things, just the simple expand, engage, reach out, follow up, and not get derailed. Those are the things that have moved my business forward because I've always stuck to it. There's only like 5 or 6 activities to be doing in this business. Like it's literally the same stuff. And I've reached a point now where I can do it really efficiently. I was even telling my husband, I am proud of my efficiency lately. I'm like, I have been just killing it in the business game lately. I'm like, I'm just knocking out my IPAs. I'm staying on task. I'm being so disciplined. And granted, it's taken me years to get to this point. You know, when I first heard this information, I was like a fumbling mess. I couldn't really figure out what my systems were. I started some systems and then ditched them. I had a spreadsheet there for a while. I had all these things going on, and I finally just committed to something and made it work for me and allowed myself to stay on task with my priorities. And it has helped my team now because I'm an example of those priorities. And they, like I said, they know when I'm working, when I'm not working. They know that if they ask me something right now, I'm going to make sure my IPAs are done before I'm going to go answer that seasoned ambassador's question, because it might not be integral to, what I have to do right now. And these tips hopefully were helpful for you to just, I don't know, take away a few little nuggets to help you be more efficient, more productive, and all the things. And I don't know, does anyone have any questions? Let's see. I couldn't see the chat earlier. Not really. And Kelly Higginbotham, you're asking about a Google Doc. Was that for your potentials list?
Well, this was before you started talking about your paper, Actually, no, that I think that is when you brought it up, because you had said, you have this huge list that's always there, and then you didn't really say where you keep that, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. So I have like the Apple Mac ecosystem of products. So anywhere I put a note, I mean, some people don't have that, but I have that. And so you could make it a Google Doc if you have, if you want to use Google Drive. I use just my notes in my phone. I actually have like a Plexus folder that has my Plexus related notes in it. And my potentials list is pinned to the top of that. So if I open my phone, if I open my computer, if I open my husband's laptop, if I open our iPad, it's there. Like that note is there. So no matter where I am, I have my giant potentials list that I just used it for Black Friday. We were, at my in-laws for Thanksgiving, and I just used that list. I went through the entire list, and it's nice to have that not in paper form. And that's what I love I love the hands-on feature of a paper planner, because it is the most convenient thing that I have found for me, because it's constantly open. I don't have to open a phone. I don't have to open a computer. I don't have to open a laptop. I don't have to go to an app to find my work, stuff. However, everybody in my planner exists in another place. So if my planner got lost, if my planner, got damaged or whatever, I have my potentials list. I know that, obviously all my friends are on, my Facebook friends or Instagram followers or whatever. And all of my customers and ambassadors are in my virtual office. So all of those names exist in another place. And they're not only in there, which is what freaked me out in the beginning about keeping everybody on separate little notepads. I was like, this isn't working. It like freaked me out. And so anyway, just having that baseline of a long running list where I just have little notes about each person, this person wanted weight loss, cost objection or whatever. Like I have little codes for myself now. Like if I have a money symbol by their name, it means they gave me a price objection. So I can go down that list and I know, Sally, price objection, but it says weight loss next to her name. So I know, maybe 3-day challenge would be up her alley, right? So I can look down that list, and I kind of have developed this little code for myself, and it helps me find those people, but if somebody, I have a Kelsey on there that I was just looking down for a 3-day challenge list. Well, Kelsey's pregnant, probably not going to invite her to the 3-day challenge. So, like I made a note there, whatever. So, that's just kind of how I use that. And again, even when it's not the right time for them to jump for whatever reason, and they're on my potentials list, they're always somewhere in my planner. Either I'm engaging with them more to understand more about their life, or I've asked them when would be a better time to reconnect with you. And I've asked them specifically when I can, come back to that conversation and put that in my planner. After the holidays, after the baby, after the new year, after the whatever, right? And so I use my planner so much. It's literally like my entire business, but it's also, if I lost it, I'd be fine. Because it's not like all of the people exist in another spot. So it wouldn't be a big deal. Cool. Anything else, you guys? Good. Awesome. You guys are great. Well, thanks so much, Sara, for being on. This is absolutely amazing. Oh, and in our group, the winner of this week's giveaway is Amber Schumacher. So we will make an announcement about that. We'll have a post about that. Thanks everybody for being on, and keep your eyes peeled for this week's call to action from yours truly and another fun giveaway. So bye guys. Thanks.